So thank you. It's always a tough act to follow, Lee. So what I'll say is that hold your seats, because you're actually going to be after me. You'll hear a real warrior in the war against terror, my good friend and coworker Brent Lindman. So first of all, I also want to say give my regrets from Ambassador Friedman, who couldn't be here tonight because he's actually had a previously scheduled engagement doing his Rosh Hashanah toast. So as the embassy was sent out, who could possibly do this? A lot of people competed for it. And I'll say that fortunately, Stevie and I worked a side deal that we would keep it from Boaz Ganor, that it was actually going to be me coming. And when I walked in the door here, Professor Ganor actually said, we're looking forward to the general's speech today. And I said, so am I, but it's not going to be today. It'll be at a later time because you've got me. But fortunately for me, this is like a big family reunion. As Jonathan said, I was your second War College fellow here. And fortunately, Professor Ganor has kept me around and kept me part of the Mishpacha. And thank you very much for that. So Professor Reichman, Professor and fellow paratrooper Reichman, Professor Ganor, distinguished guests and fellow rememberers, it is very humbling to speak before you here in a country that has known far too long and all too well the threat posed by intimidating, radical, violent ideologies. September 11th, 2001 was not the first day individuals in the name of one of these misguided ideologies attacked the U.S., let alone other countries. But it was one of those seminal moments in history where the magnitude of the worldwide threat was all but impossible to ignore. And the victims who were surprised that day will be long remembered by freedom-loving people around the world as having sacrificed in order that the rest of us remain vigilant. To paraphrase our President Lincoln, we cannot hallow their sacrifice. They have done so far better than we could hope to achieve here. But it is altogether fitting for us to remember those that gave so much. And today we not only remember those that had sacrifice unexpectedly thrust upon them and then rose to heroic action, we also remember those who subsequently gave of themselves in full knowledge of the risks they took in order that others could live freer and safer. Members of our diplomatic corps, our intelligence services, law enforcement community, military, and others who have disproportionately risen to this challenge. In August of 2001, my Army Special Forces unit deployed to Thailand in what had become our normal post-Cold War operating environment, cooperating with partner nations in remote but only slightly dangerous areas, working on border security and other low-intensity military tasks. When we came home in late September, we knew that we had returned to a radically new paradigm of national commitment and military requirements. And in a way, we all looked forward to quickly getting into the action and doing our part in this new challenge. However, we could scarcely imagine the length of our nation's commitment to and the human cost of this new conflict. And we had no way of knowing then that Sergeant First Class Nate Chapman, with us in Thailand, would be the first military casualty of this conflict. The first, but unfortunately not the last. Our soldiers, Marines, sailors, and airmen have traveled far and wide with all the military force necessary to conquer our adversaries in battle. Yet we have also traveled the same distance to bring humanitarian support, build schools and medical clinics, deliver care packages to needy villages, bring fresh water to most remote areas, and simply to be there reassuringly when the storm of intimidation approaches. We have reached out an open hand, even if clothed in camouflage fatigues, far more often than we have presented a clenched fist. And the U.S. has not shouldered this alone. We still go forth with partner nations, but we often do so together in the most dangerous areas. A community of like-minded nations with shared values of freedom and justice, with a compassion for those who are oppressed, and dedicated to making this world safer for those who want peace and freedom. It is an honor to share this burden with these partners, with Israel and other nations in this region and around the world. A wise counterterrorism academic, maybe you've heard this before, once said it takes a network to defeat a network, and we're happily part of this network. And one of these partners is Israel. And as we here get ready to celebrate a new year, I will highlight for you the IDF's first participation in a U.S. Army exercise just held last year, in which we, the U.S. Army, hosted your paratroopers, your tzanchanim, to jump with us into Poland, the heart of the Shoah, and not as victims nor as conquerors, but as soldiers, paratroopers training to protect freedom. It was my distinct honor, and for my assistant army attaché, to jump with you. I got to say that it was actually really cool. To identify that on your 70th anniversary, we're able to set up this, invite the 35th Paratrooper Brigade to train with us, and to jump out of that C-17 and hand my static line off right behind a former commander of Sarayat Matkal. It was an amazing experience and just shows what partners can do. And this is all about training for future partnership growth, and it's a wonderful opportunity to be doing that with you. But as we remember the victims of 9/11 and the sacrifices of those that follow, let us remember to protect freedom with vigilance and humanity, as an example to those who might be intimidated and as a deterrent to those who try to intimidate. In closing, as we partners remain vigilant for our freedom and maintain our humanity toward others, I am reminded of Hillel the elder. If I am not for me, who will be? If I am only for me, who am I? If not now, when? Thank you.